Yes. Hello everyone. Welcome to this particular section. So here in this section we are going to discuss some important questions to crack Amazon SDE role. So how to crack Amazon SDE role. So here we are going to discuss some important two coding questions, previously asked questions. So first we will see what is a question, and after that we will try to come up with the logic for the same question, then the code in C++. So let us move to the programming part. Here is my very first question. So Amazon's Alexa team is working on optimizing the customer experience for scenarios where customers ask generic question. One example of a generic question is, what are good vegetarian restaurants nearby? So in this example, Alexa would then search for a list of vegetarian restaurants in the city and select the nearest ex-vegetarian restaurants related to the customer's location. Here we have an array or list which represent the location of n vegetarian restaurants in the city. We need to implement an algorithm to find the nearest ex-vegetarian restaurants to the customer's location. So from the question it is very clear, the problem is asking for an algorithm that finds the nearest ex-vegetarian restaurants to the customer's location. So we have an array of n vegetarian restaurant locations. From that vegetarian restaurants, we need to find the nearest one to the customer's location. X number of vegetarian restaurants we need to find. So our task is, we need to find the distance between customer's location and the restaurant location, right? So we have the location of both the things, customers and restaurant's location. So from this we will be applying the distance formula. Let us just calculate it as the square root of the sum of squares of the difference between customers x coordinate and restaurants x coordinate. So this will give you the result of the distance. After that, what I'm supposed to find? I need to find the nearest distance. So similarly, I'll be finding the difference between customers y coordinate and restaurants y coordinate. So first customers x coordinate and restaurants x coordinate. Similarly, customers y coordinate and restaurants y coordinate. So after finding the distance, I'll find the smallest one, that is the nearest one. So here the logic behind the algorithm would be to first calculate the distance between the customer's location and each of the n vegetarian restaurant location. Then we will sort the distance in ascending order, right? So here we can see the sample input and output in order to get some more clear idea. If we see the input format, the first integer n, which corresponds to the number of restaurants. So say for example, let's take 5 restaurants are there in the city or 10 restaurants are there in the city. That number represents the first input, and the next n lines corresponds to the location of each restaurant, and the last integer input x, which represents a number of deliverables. That is, I need to find the x number of vegetarian restaurants which is having the shortest distance. So from the shortest distance, I'll sort and I'll get the first 4 vegetarian restaurants. So in the output, I should print the nearest X restaurant's location. And the customer begins at the location 0, 0. So as I told you already, I need to calculate the distance between customer's location and restaurant location by the distance formula, right? Anyhow, the customer begins at the location 0, 0. So if I'm taking x1 minus x the whole square plus y1 minus y the whole square root of. So this is the distance formula, right? So where the customer's location is given as 0, 0. So anyway, the formula would turn out to be x square plus y square. So the distance from the customer's current location to the recommended vegetarian restaurant location x, y is the square root of x square plus y square, since the customer begins at the location 0, 0. Now let us refer the sample test cases. So here this 3 represents a number of restaurants. So I have here taken 3 number of restaurants. So where this is the location of first restaurant, and this is the location of the second restaurant, and this is the location of third restaurant, right? And this is the number of deliverables. That is, from the shortest distance, I need to find the first 2 shortest distance located vegetarian restaurant. So this is the locations, right? So the distance of the customer from location 1 comma 2. So this is the location of restaurant and customer's location is 0 comma 0. So I'll be finding square root of, that is 1 square plus 2 square, which is square root of 5, right? So square root of 5 is 2.236. Similarly, from the second location, the customer is at 5. The distance is 5. And I'll calculate for all the 3 different vegetarian restaurant locations. I'll find the distance between customer location and the particular vegetarian restaurant location. I'll get the distance, right? So now if you compare the distance, the first one is 2.236, second one is 5, and the third one is 1.414. Now, among the 3 restaurants, I'm supposed to find the 2 deliverables. That is the shortest 2 vegetarian restaurants. So, one is going to be 1.414 and the other one is going to be 2.236. So, the location of the particular restaurant is 1 minus 1 as well as 192. Hence, my output is 1 comma minus 1 and 1 comma 2, because these 2 vegetarian restaurant is located at the smallest distance from the customer's location. So the distance of this is 1.414 and the distance of this is 2.236. So while comparing all the 3 distances, these 2 are the shortest distance. Hence in output I'll be printing this. Now let's take the another example. Sample test case 2. Here also the same thing. The total number of restaurant is 6. So the location between each restaurant is given here. So I'll be finding the distance of between the customer location and the restaurant location for each part. And among that, I need to find, among the 6 restaurants, I need to find the shortest first 4 restaurants. So I'll find the distance between all the things, and here from this I'll be calculating the first 4. So this is going to be included and this is going to be included. This is also going to be included because with the things same distance. And finally, while comparing these 2, here also the same thing, right? So now I'll be taking number of deliverables is 4, right? So the output will be, I'll be taking 10 comma 2, then 8 comma 7, then 7 comma 8 and 20 comma 2. So after sorting the first 4 you can print. So what does it mean is, after sorting the first 4 till the 4th index position you can print the location. So after that no need to print the location. So here while implementing the code I will be making use of the concept of vectors and multi-map. So before that I'll just tell you what is this vectors and what is this multi-map, right? So vector, if you take, so this vector is a dynamic array-like container in C++, and it can store a sequence of elements of the same type. So it provides a more flexible way to manage arrays than the traditional C-style arrays. See why? Because normally if we implement using arrays, the size of arrays is fixed one, right, at the time of declaration. But whereas in vector, the size can change dynamically during the runtime. And also here we can add the elements, modify, all the process can be done easily through vectors while comparing with arrays. So I'm making use of the concept of vector here. Now if I want to use vectors in C++, I am supposed to include the header file #include vector. So this has to be included in the header file, as well as how the syntax is. I'll be giving vector, then the data type. So the type is going to be integer data type and a name has to be given. So this is creating an empty vector of integers. Now if I want to insert any elements over here, I can make use of the function pushback. So if I'm giving pushback of 40, what does it mean is the element 40 is added inside this. So this is how I'll be making use of this. And similarly, similar to arrays, if I want to print any elements position, I can just go with the index position v of 0, v of 1, v of 2 and so on. So that I'll be able to print the values. Now the next concept I'm going to use here, it is multi-map. So what is this multi-map? So this is also one container in C++ STL function, and this is similar to map, but the difference is this allows multiple values with the same key, right? But whereas if you take map, it is unique and it maps to a single value. So multi-map key can have multiple values, whereas in map key will be having one single value. This is a difference, right? And the syntax of using it is similar to that of map only. And if I want to insert a key value pair also, you can insert the insert function with a pair of the key as well as a value, right? So that you can use it. And finally, in order to print all the values, you can make use of an iterator in order to iterate from the first value till the last value, where you will be able to print all the values, right? And this is the logic behind the question. So what I'm supposed to do here, it is first I need to find the distance between the customer's location and the restaurant location. So this, since the customer location is 0, 0, I'll be directly applying the formula square root of x square plus y square. For each restaurant, I'll find the distance. After finding the distance, I'll sort and I'll take the first x restaurants. So this is going to be the output. Now let us try to implement the code for the same. So here is the same question. Now let us implement the code. So first of all, I should add all the necessary header files, right? So let me include hash include IO stream, then hash include vector, then hash include iterator, hash include map. Then I need to find the distances, right? So math function also I can include here. So IO stream, vector header file, and iterator, map, and math. So this block includes all the necessary header files, as well as I should use the namespaces. So using namespace SDE. Fine. After this, now let us start with the main function. So first I should get the input, that is the number of restaurants from the user. So let me start with the main function. Inside the main function, I'll declare a variable n and I'll get the value of n from the user, which represents the total number of restaurant. And after that, I'll declare a multi-map. So let me give multi-map double vector data type integer. Here I'll declare location. So in order to store the location. So this program actually initializes as a multi-map data structure to store the location of the restaurant, right? So after that we are getting the locations, right? So until n. So n number of restaurant is there. So for all the n number of restaurants, I should get the location. So multi-map, double, vector, then int and location. So here I am initializing a multi-map data structure in order to store the location of the restaurants along with the corresponding distance from the customer, right? So here let me run a loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than n and I plus plus. I'll declare two variables a and b, and I should get the value of a and b from the user, right? So after getting the value, in order to store that distance, so distance is like 10 point, it is going beyond some values, right? That is the reason I have declared that variable using the data type square double. So I have taken, so this square is equal to square root of, I have included the math header file, so I can make use of the function square root function plus b into b. So this will gives you the distance, right? Now here along with their corresponding distance from the customer we should store. So in this loop, the program reads the coordinates of each restaurant and calculate the distance between that restaurant and the customer. Then I'll create a vector of coordinates for that restaurant and I'll insert the distance and vector into the multi-map. So let me declare a vector of integer data type in order to store the locations, and in this vector I'll just push each values. So each distances I'll push here. So log dot push back of B and location dot insert of pair in the data type vector in. Now here two things, one is the distance value and other one is the corresponding locations. So what I'm doing here it is I'm creating a vector of coordinates for that restaurant and I'm inserting the distance as well as the vector into the multi-map. Alright. Now let me get the last input, that is a number of deliverables. So here it is a deliverables. I'll get the value of the number of deliverables from the user. Now after getting the value of the deliverables, I'll just make use of the multi-map double comma vector integer. So here I am going to make use of the iterator. So why I am making use of the iterator here? Here the program reads in the number of nearest restaurants, right? The customer wants to see, and I'll be initializing an iterator to loop through the multi-map. So in order to iterate each value inside the multi-map, I'm making use of the iterator, and it also starts printing the output in the specified format as well. So in the specified format, I'm supposed to print. So first I'm supposed to print this open square bracket. So let me give it here. Yeah. So after printing this, I can run the loop. So from where till where I'll be running the loop for it is equal to from the beginning till the end. So location dot begin of. So once I got the part, I can tell one deliverable I got, right? So there I'll be decrementing each deliverable and iterator value should get incremented. Now here I'm supposed to print the format in the same format I'm supposed to print. So inside this I will be printing the location, right? So the iterator it second of 0, I should leave a comma in between, then it second of 1. Fine. Now here we can check whether I got the number of deliverables, all the number of deliverables or what. So only if the number of deliverables is there, if it is pending, I can print a comma over there. If not, what does it mean? It got completed, right? I got all the number of deliverables, so I can stop the process. Only if there is pending deliverables, I can give comma. So I'm giving comma here. Now I can close a for loop. Once I'm coming out of the for loop, I should give the last part, that is the closing bracket. So here the loop iterates through the multi-map and it prints out the coordinates for the specified number of nearest restaurants in the required format. Yeah. So first what I did is I have included all the header file. So this block includes the necessary header files, and here I have used the namespaces also. And inside that, in the main function, I am getting the number of restaurants from the user that represents n. Then I have taken a multi-map in order to store the distance value. I am creating a data type double. And in order to store all these things get the locations of this, I have created a vector also. So integer, then the name I have given it as location. Now I can run a loop. So inside this loop, before this loop itself, I can declare this. If not, will result in an error. Yeah. Now I am running a loop till the number of restaurants. So for each restaurant, I am getting the values. So here the program reads the number of restaurants from the user input, and here the program initializes a multi-map data structure to store the location of the restaurant along with the distance from the customer. So A and B I'll get from the user, and after that, using the formula, I'll get the values of the distance. Then I can use a vector here. So this program reads the coordinates for each restaurant, and it will calculate the distance between the restaurant and the customer. After that, I'll create a vector of coordinates for that restaurant, and I'll insert the distance as well as vector into the multi-map. So here I have added this value of A and B into the vector, and in the multi-map, I'm inserting this vector as well as the distance value. So location dot insert pair double comma vector integer square comma location. So I'm inserting all these things here. And once this is done, I can close the for loop. And after that, I'm getting the number of deliverables from the user. After getting the number of deliverables, I'm reading the number of nearest restaurant the customer wants to see, and I'll initialize an iterator to loop through the multi-map. So it also starts printing the output in the specified format here. So the loop iterates to the multi-map and prints out the coordinates for the specified number of nearest restaurants in the required format. So the number is del. So until the deliverable is becoming 0, I'll keep on repeating the process. Right. So once this is done, I'll just close this out. The iterative loop, I'll close this out, and I'll print in the particular format over here. And finally, I'll print the values. So now let me run the code here. Okay. It should be, yeah, I have given math. It should be C math in C++. On 21st line. Yeah, here. Location dot insert of pair double comma vector. Oh, here I should close this, sorry. And then square and location. Yeah. I have missed one bracket over there. And in 29, unable to find string literal. Multi-map double comma vector int, then the iterator it. Okay, see out, I'm printing the bracket here. For it is equal to location dot begin of, and delete minus minus iterator plus plus. Yeah, here I should after printing this, I should print the value. So I should give an angular bracket. Now I have passed all the test cases. It has passed all the hidden test cases as well. So here is your next coding question. Your team at Amazon has recently adopted a new password validation scheme for internal user accounts. Now, the password consists of lowercase English letters only and is valid only if it contains at least one vowel. Vowels are the characters So here the vowels are the characters we know, A, E, I, O, U, and rest of the the strength of it. So if the password itself it is not valid, I can return 0. So now the input is a string that corresponds to the password, and in output I should print the password strength. So how many subsegments of the string are valid? According to the count, the password strength will be there. Now we can see the example of it. Here we have hacker rank, right? And the password strength is 3. So how I am getting this is the password can be divided into 3 subsegments: hack, err, and rank. So I am supposed to divide into the subsegments as that there should be one vowel as well as at least one consonant. Here it is given, right? Only if it is valid. How I can tell whether the subsegment is valid if it contains at least one vowel and at least one consonant. So this is the way of what? Dividing it in order to get the valid subsets. So it can be shown that the string cannot be divided into more than 3 valid subsegments. So these 3 are the only way: hack, err, and rank. So that all the 3 subsegments is going to be the appropriate one. So the strength is 3. So here, the solution to this problem now, it involves iterating through each character of the password, and I should keep a track of number of contiguous subsegments that are valid passwords. So a valid subsegment is one that contains at least one vowel and one consonant. So in order to keep the track of the number of contiguous subsegments, we can use 2 pointers, like a left pointer as well as a right pointer, and it defines the boundaries of the subsegment. So we can move the right pointer until we find the valid subsegment, and then we can move the left pointer to the next character, and I'll repeat the process. So if a subsegment is not a valid password, we can reset the left pointer to the current position of the right pointer, and we can move the right pointer to the next character. So by repeating the process or in this way, we can find the maximum number of contiguous subsegments that are the valid password. So if the password itself it is not a valid password, we can give the strength of password as 0. So in this problem, a password strength is defined as a maximum number of contiguous subsequents, right? So accordingly, I'll be just taking it out. So I'll come up with a code. So first let me include the header file. hash include IO stream and hash include string. Then using namespace SDE. So first I'll get the main function. So inside the main function, I'll get the input from the user. So inside the main function, let me declare a string in order to get the password. And using the getLine function, I'll get the input of the string from the user. After that, let me use a function getCount in order to find the strength. So here I can close this out. Yeah. Now I should define the function getCount. So int getCount of string s. So my first process, I'll initialize the count to 0, and I should iterate each character which is present inside the string. So how I'm supposed to iterate is by using a for loop. So I'll iterate each character which is present inside the string. So for int I is equal to 0 and I should be less than s dot length, it is until the end of the string I'm running the loop, and I plus plus. So inside this, let me take another variable in order to store the value of I. This is used for the iteration process and that will keep there aside. And let me take some two count. So one is the vowel count. So this will be initially false. And Boolean consonant count. This also I'm initializing it as false. And if I'm coming across any vowel or consonant in the subsegment, then I'll make it as true. So initially it will be false only. It is a Boolean data type, so I should return either true or false. Now the value of j is equal to 0, the same thing. So j should be less than my length. So until the length, I'll be checking whether there is a vowel or not. So I can make use of a if condition, and the function is vowel. So if there is a vowel, then this will be true. So if is vowel of s of j. So if this is so, I have already initialized a Boolean count as false, right? Now I'll reinitialize it as true. It will become true over here. Similarly, if the condition is not getting satisfied, from this what I can tell, the consonant count is going to be getting incremented. So this is going to be true. So if this condition is satisfied, that means there is a vowel. If not, there is a count. There is a consonant. And if both the values are there, that is if there is at least one vowel and one consonant. So if both V count as well as my consonant count is 1, that is not 0. If it is not 0, then I can increment the count. So this is going to be the strength of the password. And also I'll reinitialize the value of I to j++ because I want to repeat the process to the next character, right? Next set of subsegment, and I'll stop the process here. So once I'm coming out of this if condition, if this if condition is not getting satisfied, I'll just go to the next character. So I'll increment the value of JLO. Now finally, the result of the function is I'm supposed to return the count. Now how I can perform is vowel function? Is vowel of, here let me have a character which is passed. So if my character is equal to any one of the vowel A, or if my character is equal to E, or if my character is equal to I, or if my character is equal to O, or if my character is equal to U. So if it is AEIO, you no need to check for the uppercase because already it is given. If it is valid only if it contains all the lowercase alphabets. So no need to check for the uppercase condition. Uppercase letters will not be there in the input string. So if any one of the condition is becoming true, then I can return true for this particular function. If not, I should return false for this particular function. There is no vowel. So once I got the output, I can just return the password strength. So here the password strength is nothing but a count. So first I'm going to get the input string from the user. After getting the input string, I'm using a function in order to count the number of valid subsegments in the string. So in order to get the subsegments, how I can tell the particular subsegment is valid one or not? It should have at least one vowel or one consonant. So what I'm going to do here it is, in the main function, I'll read the string from the user and passes it to the getCount function to calculate the strength of the password. And then the result is printed to the console, right? So there is a vowel function. It takes a character C as an input and it will return the Boolean value indicating whether the character is a vowel or not. So if it is a vowel, I'll return true. If not, it will return false. And this function, getCount function, it takes a string as an input and it returns an integer count that represents the strength of the password. So here in this function, it loops through the string and checks for the each possible contiguous subsegment to see if it contains at least one vowel and one consonant. So I'm checking the condition over here. So if it contains means, that is if it does means, I'll increment the count variable and moves on to the next subsegment. That is, if the condition is satisfied, I'll increment the count as well as I'm incrementing the value of I. So I is stored as G++. Right. If not, I'll go to the next set and I'll check whether there is a part or not. And similarly, is vowel, there is a function. So by checking this, if it is satisfying, it will return true. If not, it will return false. So now let us run the code here. Yeah, false. It should be F. Should be in lowercase. I is equal to 0. There is an error here. Int count is equal to 0. For int I equal to 0, I less than s is my string, s dot length of and I plus plus. And I have also included the hash include string header file also, that's fine. And int j is equal to I, boolean v count equal to false. Length of is there error here? Okay, is vowel function. I'll just declare the function here. Boo is vowel of character C. So I have declared the function. There is a space I have given. Yeah, there should not be a space. Fine. It has passed all the hidden test cases as well. So this is how I can find whether the given password is a valid one or not. If it is valid, I should return the string how the strength is. If not, if it is not valid, I'll be returning 0. So how I can tell it is valid or not? For each subsegment, I should have at least one vowel and one consonant. If both the conditions are getting satisfied, I can increment the count. That is the strength of the password. If not, I'll go to the next iteration. So this is how I'll be doing this particular code. So far we have solved some two questions, important questions to crack the Amazon SDE role. Thank you.